Welcome to the show, Kelly. Why don't you introduce yourself and the group that you're working with, and how you're finding things here in The Hague?
My name's Kelly Reinhardt. I'm doing some work for Now Magazine and greenspiration.org. We're putting some stuff up on the internet like this, and I'm also shooting with another camera, making a documentary of the entire process here in The Hague, which to me seems a little bit of a nightmare, really. It's a very ironic thing that's going on.
So, nightmare in, yeah, of course, nightmare in the sense of, hi, you can join us. We're just we're live on the internet. We're doing a broadcast, and yeah, if you'd like to come in.
For lack of a real guest, I came on, so please.
Any Joe's exchanging, you know.
Yeah,
we gave the time for them.
Care for a carrot? I'll trade you a carrot for a part of a banana.
I need something to drink.
Something to drink, huh?
Some wine?
Yeah, get a glass and.
Yeah, water.
Okay. Well, here we are. We're still in The Hague. And we're at the conference.
COP6.
COP6. Tell me about COP6.
It's pretty incredible. There's delegates from all over the world, 106 countries, I think. And from what I've been able to glean in the few short days that we're here, we're trying to, I guess, come to an agreement, which was the Kyoto Protocol, how to implement the Kyoto Protocol and how to reach our Kyoto Protocol targets, even though it hasn't been ratified, and any decision that we make here will still need to be ratified.
So, where's the nightmare there? Sounds pretty straightforward.
Well, it's foot dragging. Nothing's really getting done. The planet's getting warmer. The disasters are getting larger. People are being displaced. Islands are disappearing. Right? Entire cultures are being wiped off the map. The Arctic could very well disappear as an ecosystem within 40 or 50 years, that we heard the other day.
Yeah, that was pretty striking. Henry Hengeveld, the Canadian, the scientist on the Canadian delegation, was speaking at a news conference Monday morning, and was saying that the Arctic, with trends if trends continue as they're going, by 2060, temperature in the Arctic would be up by 12 to 15 or 16 degrees Celsius. What does that mean? I don't know. But, basically, currently the temperature has gone up 2.5 degrees, and almost half the ice is melted away.
Right.
So it's the end of the Arctic as we know it.
The land is changing, the ecosystem is changing, the plant and animal life is changing. Animals are coming
polar
north.
bears?
Diseases are moving around the world, right? People aren't going to be able, not only people, but entire ecosystems aren't going to be able to adapt fast enough to this rapid change. This is, from what I understand, the fastest rate of climate change that we've had since the last ice age.
Okay, but that's the information that's out there. So you've got these people, thousands of people walking around, and they're talking about it, and they're working out an arrangement to avert the crisis and to move into another era. I mean, that's what Kyoto is about.
The agreement won't avert any crisis. The agreement will at best postpone the crisis for 8 to 10 years.
But they have all the scientists here, and all the governments represented, right, and the negotiating team and the UN and everything, and they're all getting together, and they're coming up with a plan, right?
You'd think so. We're spending 42 million guilders to run this show.
Is that a lot of money?
Seems like a lot of money to me.
How big is a guilder? I mean, what's the current? How many guilders can you buy for?
I think there's
a euro.
I'm not sure about that. An American dollar. Greenback, I think it's 2
to 1.
2 to 1. You can get 2 guilders for an American dollar.
Okay, so you're saying 42 million guilders.
Right. So around 20 million American.
US dollars. Yeah. That's quite a bit of money.
You could save a lot of carbon emissions for $20 million, right? In real implementation, energy conservation.
Okay, so do you figure, like, from what you've heard, you've been here a few days already, work it out. Are they working it out?
In some weird way, I guess they are working it out, right? They want to make us believe that they're coming to some type of compromise and everyone's working it out and getting along, and not getting along, but they're going to come to an agreement, right? They have to, right?
Well, it seems pretty civil. I mean, people are, kind of sitting around talking, and they have interpretation, and people from different countries and so forth. Yeah, so they're working something. They're doing something.
It's kind of like an old-fashioned family situation where the family works out an issue, but when it comes down to it, Dad, big heavyweight, right? He applies all the pressure. And he says, "Look, this is my
the way we're going to do it.
This is my rules, and thanks for your input." but we're going to do it this way, and does everything to make it go that direction. Uncle
Right.
Sam, if you will.
So it's not Dad. It's Uncle Sam.
Right.
Okay. So where does that lead? How does the sandbag work into it?
I think what's happening is our hopes for the future are being sandbagged by this process. Really.
Really?
This is what it comes down to. We have an agreement. When was Kyoto? Like 4 years ago or something.
3 years. Yeah.
And you look at things like this. I don't know if you can see that. People are kayaking down the street. The last woman that was on said that the UK had the worst flooding in hundreds of years.
Right. Right. So it sounds pretty serious.
They're not working anything out. I'm discouraged. I'm not hopeful like the last guest.
Okay. Well, so you're staying you're staying nearby. You're living in The Hague. How do you like the
I love
city?
The Hague.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful city. Unfortunately, my free rented bicycle was stolen yesterday while I was running some errands.
Really? Stolen from underneath you?
I parked it, went inside a building, come out of the building, and it's gone.
Really?
Yeah, but it's part of the culture, I was told.
Too bad. So you've decided you're spending a lot of time inside the building here because the plenaries are. There's a midnight plenary coming up in what time?
15 minutes ago.
Whoa, is it on? No, it's the after midnight plenary. They're going in, folks. Just to explain to our vast viewing audience, they're going into the big time plenary. This is like all night, day and night now. So they're supposed to start at midnight. Prague's running a little bit late, and everybody's waiting for it to get underway. And they get into they're going to start getting into the plenary. They're going to be discussing this stuff. Yeah, they're going to be putting this stuff forward, and there's going to be motions and debates and stuff like that. So this is where it gets down to the nitty-gritty of who's prepared to support what and how this whole very complex puzzle is put together. Now, it is puzzling. I mean, we've tried to avoid some of the technical jargon. I mean, to respect our viewing audience. I mean, this is viewer discretion recommended for this next section because it does get kind of intricate.
Heavy?
And it gets heavy, and some people don't like this language because it's kind of upsetting. So you take something like protecting the ecology and by burning less fossil fuels, and you turn that into sinks. And the sinks are it's like you have a crime problem in Toronto. And there's so many, murders every year. And instead of dealing with that, you go and you reduce the level of assaults in another country, and you say, hey, we've solved the murder problem on the planet, right? The murders, it's instead of actually dealing with the situation, you go and you do something else to try to balance it out. So instead of slowing down the amount of fossil fuels being burnt at power plants, you plant a couple trees in the rainforest, or cow farts in Uganda is the classic one. TransAlta Utilities burns coal, and they what happened to that coal? And they instead of slowing down the burning of coal, they're going to reduce the level of cow flatulence in Uganda. So there we are. There we have it.
If it wasn't so serious, it would be really funny.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should just have a drink. Where are the glasses? Don't you wear glasses? Don't have glasses.
From grapes.
Yeah, we just did this earlier today. We started off with some grapes, pressed them up, and we bottled it into Cuvée de la Hague.
Hey, that's
Hey. Benja Bordeaux.
I feel a little squeamish about plugs.
About plug.
Like
We're not. We shouldn't be. This is not a commercial endorsement for this product, and please don't drink while you're driving.
Because they might not support the views of the program. And
right. Yeah. Okay. We'll turn the label around. So don't drink and drive. Actually, go ahead and drink, but just don't drive. That's what it boils down to. The dangerous part is the driving, actually. Where were we?
we have another guest lined up, I think.
There is. Did you arrange one? Who's that?
What happened to the
Do you want
New York Times?
you want to try to get that New York Times guy? And I'll go through. I'll do a quick run through some of the paper that we've been getting because it's quite an astounding cascade.
You're gonna try and make sense of it all?
Yeah. Well, I'll do a little monologue if you want. You can take a minute or two and get another guest. That'd be great. So it's it really kind of complicated. I'll be right back. It's complicated to try to figure out what's going on here because there's all these different levels of things happening. There's the behind closed doors meetings. There's the NGOs telling their side of the story. There are the delegates who are hustling up and down the hallways, and there's the flood of paper that comes at you on an ongoing basis, and you kind of have to try to make heads or tails of this stuff. I'll just read a few headlines so you get a sense of what it is that's what's being discussed. So this is the Pacific Islands Climate Change Report has been released. That's in the news release, and it explains that 2 days ago at The Hague, the small island states in the Pacific released a report. Now they're clearly amongst the most vulnerable communities on the planet. They're seriously impacted by the rising sea levels as temperatures rise. The water expands, so the sea levels rise, and there's also additional melting of the polar ice caps and so forth. So these people, like some of these countries, like Tuvalu in the South Pacific, is threatened with inundation, extermination, elimination from the face of the earth under a rising ocean. So this talks about their concern, and let's see if we can get a quote here.
We have only
somebody.
audio. May I
Only audio? Yeah.
take
Okay.
it again?
Sure. Right. What the video clicked off?
Yeah, I have to
Reboot?
Yeah.
Okay. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Technical difficulties. I think they're trying to stop us. It's the CIA and the authorities. They're worried about what we're doing here. So please, hopefully, we'll be back soon.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
They're the only ones watching, anyways.
Who knows? Maybe Clinton is watching you.
Who knows? So they're not the midnight plenary.
Yeah.
What happened?
Coming.
It's not. Is it?
Yeah.
Are they getting ready?
Would you put your name there?
Yeah. Are they getting ready for the plenary?
Who? They?
Well, because they're supposed.
Yeah, the people over there.
Really?
They are
people
going to
in
the
the room?
plenary, yeah.
They're going in the room now? Because it was supposed to be at midnight, right?
Yeah.
Você vai pegar na internet? Entra na Rádio Brasa. A Rádio Brasa que deve ter dado para isso.
Is it working?
Okay,
Yeah?
we're in the end.
Back. Right on. Okay. So we're talking
Let
about.
me take a little bit the light out. Too much light.
Is it too bright? Okay. So we're with the Pacific Island countries, and this is the conclusion from the report on the impacts on Pacific Islands. Quote, the analysis clearly indicates that the Pacific Islands are likely to experience significant incremental costs from climate change. It is urgent that the international community move rapidly to develop financing mechanisms to help countries in the receiving end of climate change fund no regrets adaptation. And that's from the World Bank Natural Resources Economists. So basically they're saying there should be a fund set up so that countries that are seriously impacted by extreme climate conditions, rising sea levels and so forth, should be able to at least be financially compensated somewhat for their inconvenience. Here we have a report a news release from the David Suzuki Foundation in Canada, and their headline's kind of an interesting one because this is not something that's often even being addressed here. It's actually ignored in this whole tension and anxiety about how could we possibly meet a 6% reduction in our burning of fossil fuels. In fact, the Suzuki Foundation maintains in their headline that 50% cuts are achievable and that experts urge action beyond the Kyoto target. So here's basically, they're saying that they've done some analysis. Jerry Scott, director of the Climate Change Campaign, says, I quote, as they enter the crucial decision-making phase of the conference, the United States, Canada, and other industrialized countries should recognize the benefits of going beyond their Kyoto Protocol targets. Now they then have Dr. Barno of the TELUS Institute in the U.S., and Ralph Torrey, Canadian, and Sunita Narayan of the India's Center for Science and the Environment spoke at the news conference. And Torrey says that quote, the technology required for 50% cuts is available now. It's a straightforward approach to reducing energy costs, improving air quality, and creating new jobs. And then he goes into, we know all the variables: building retrofits, alternative energy, improved public transportation, fuel-celled cars. What's missing from the equation are the combination of broad and targeted policies in government and industry that will make these changes a reality. So in other words, there's a requirement for government to step in and actually set the tone. These activities are doable, they're reasonable, they actually save money. All that's needed is the policy pressure for it to happen. So that's a whole interesting new approach on it, to say, hey, we can reach 50% targets without too much difficulty, and actually with benefits to the economy in terms of creating employment and cleaning up the air and so forth. From the pile, we've got in this publication the common ground, the special report on Germany's environment. It's interesting. Some of the countries are doing this. Canada had put out a similar document talking about actual projects, specifically. That's Ricardo's. Is that Ricardo's? Yep. So here they talk about combating climate change through motorless motion, and that's talking about bikes and specifically bikes. So there's a program here, looks interesting. Bicycles, check this, bikes waiting for you to use them. Bikes you can simply lay aside once you've arrived at your destination. That sounds like the dream of every driver sitting in yet another downtown traffic jam. But it's been a reality in Munich since April of this year, when a company set up 2,000 orange and silver bikes near the city's telephone cells. Now these bikes are the key component of a bicycle rental system, and it goes on and explains how it works. Sounds like something that would be worth investigating. I think we'll flag that one and do a little Greenspiration story on that sometime in the future. In today's don't have the paper here. We'll get to that a little later. There's a little leaflet from Greenpeace saying, "Alarm! Don't let us drown or down." There's only one day left to save the climate, and they're urging that that government take some specific measures soon to not delay activity anymore. What else do we have here? We have the sandbag. Okay, we've done that. We have some lettuce and carrots. The thing about addressing climate change through some activities like switching to organic is that not only do you get the benefit of reduced emissions from using less fossil fuel based fertilizers and so forth, and from the highly fuel intensive farming practices with big tractors and big combines and long distance trucking and so forth, but you actually end up with organic food, which actually tends to be tastier and certainly healthier. So this is one of the interesting things I found on the whole climate change issue is that as you look at the alternatives, often not only do they help to protect the climate, but they're actually cheaper, and you end up with more healthy and better society. So why not do them? And that gets back to the point that we were discussing earlier about how what's driving a lot of the slow pace of these climate negotiations and of action on climate change is the fact that there are very powerful and very entrenched industries that don't want to change, and they're driving, literally driving the agenda for the United States, and the United States senators in particular are maintaining that perspective on the world, and that sense that action on climate change would be very, very difficult to achieve. Okay, back to the pile of stuff. This is some kind of a playing card, which I guess you can carry it in your wallet, and it tells you about the Rio Takesi hydroelectric power plant, and there's all the details of it. It's located in Bolivia, and it furnishes 850 kilowatts of electricity, and all the details about it, who manufactured it, and how it will reduce the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere because it's a water power plant, a hydropower plant, rather than burning coal or natural gas. here's here's a power plant of some sort, gas turbines, and because gas turbines put out less greenhouse gases per unit of energy than coal-fired power plants, and they're claiming that there's a benefit here, and that this is a good thing for climate change. So it's kind of a world turned upside down, where burning fossil fuels actually certain types of fossil fuels companies expect to get some kind of a credit for doing that, because they've done a bad thing by putting more carbon up into the atmosphere, but they've done a good thing because it's not as destructive as some of the other types of fossil fuels that are burned for generating electricity, like coal, for example. Okay, moving on. We have here the daily newspaper. It's called the Earth Times, and this Earth Times has come out every day since the conference began, about 10 or 11 days ago, 12 days ago. Has some headlines. The role of forests highlighted. There's a lot of discussion about forests. Action needed, global problems, local solutions. The local solutions aspect is an interesting one, because the municipalities actually are taking a lot of initiative, way more than the national governments, and it's probably because they're closer to the ground, closer to people's where people live, and how people behave in cities, and there are specific actions that can be taken, like encouraging bicycling or walking or public transportation, better urban design, those sorts of things, which actually save significant quantities of energy, and thereby reduce greenhouse gas emissions and our impact on the global climate. So what does that mean? It means specific actions, like changing the lights so that you use a lot less electricity to illuminate a room or a building, and that means that you can you actually lessen your ecological footprint of your activities, and that helps to protect the climate. It's a good thing. Usually these things can be done at a savings. They don't cost you any more money, they actually save you money. Here we have online emission trading. This emission trading is something that industry is getting very excited about, because what they're doing is trading emissions. So if you're doing an activity and you can figure out how to put out less CO2, then you get a credit for that, and you can then take that credit and sell the credit to someone who's putting out lots of emissions, so they can essentially buy an indulgence as a way to continue doing business as usual, but paying a bit of money to they say compensate for the bad thing that they're doing. An interesting approach. Something about Norway's Statoil and their delivery of their impact on underwater water. Some pictures, climate cake, global environmental facility. That was not the cake that was spattered on Mr. Frank. It's a different cake, and that was a climate cake, a cake with the earth on top of it in relief. What a relief. Okay, if my mom is watching, my dad, hi. And you might be there with Bridget, hi. And anyone else out there, hi. We're still here in The Hague at the World Conference on Climate Change. The theme of the conference is Work It Out, and that's the theme. That's the name of this show. It's Work It Out. We figure that we got to work it out. We got to figure out how to implement these changes and how to do them quickly, because time's wasted and people are drowning from floods, and people are dying from heat stroke and malaria. Malaria is moving around the planet into places where it never was before. The Inuit are in big trouble as the Arctic disappears. It's a serious concern. You've got already much of the ice is melted away. The polar bears having trouble getting out there and fishing for the seals, because the ice isn't there anymore. They need to get out on the ice to eat the seals. Here's how it works. Here's what I've been told. Got the ice. Now the seals breathe air, so they make sure that there's a hole in the ice that they can pop out and breathe the air. And the polar bears know where those holes are, hang around them. seal pops up to get some air. Polar bear grabs it. Now, if the ice isn't there, if the ice is melted, how's a polar bear to get food? You know, can't walk into the grocery store, put it on a credit card. Gotta eat the seals. Now, interestingly, cops are watching us.